Rahul Bajaj, former Member of Parliament, Chairman of Bajaj Auto. Thank you very much. Good evening. Swaminathan Iyer, Consulting Editor of the Economic Times from Washington. Rahul Bajaj from Pune. Meghnad Desai, Lord Meghnad Desai from London. Dr. Balachandra Mungekar, Member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha of the Congress Party from Mumbai. And we're joined by Nirmala Sitharaman in some time, Mohandas Pai in some time. Rahul Bajaj, do you buy this argument that the government has no other option but to go in for the hike now? Go ahead, they say. There's a strong section which is saying go ahead, which is cheering the government on and says we will jeer you if you do not go in for a diesel price hike in the next 1 week. Do you agree with those groups?
I don't know what the others are saying, Arnab, and I'm not yet referring to what happens to the diesel price or the LPG price or the kerosene price. This price rise of 7.5 is very high. Gradual is not going to solve a problem. That's politics. Ultimately, people have to bear the cost. I'm the worst hit. I make millions of vehicles every year which consume petrol. The demand is already weak. Demand will further suffer. So I'm one of those 2 or 3 companies in India out of thousands which will suffer the most maybe. But talking of the nation, I think it's the right decision. Get into the reasons why this had to be done now like this. Why the depreciating rupee? The oil price increase is not under your control. Why the depreciating rupee? Why the inflation? Why the fiscal deficit? Why did it become inevitable to increase the prices? Are you going to take the oil companies to dogs? So I agree with the decision. Very reluctantly, I agree with the decision to do it. I know it's unpopular. I know the opposition will take advantage of it. All that is their problem. I'm not a politician. But I do believe in the last 3 years, various things have not been done. Whether reforms, whether spending it properly on social programs, inefficiency, corruption. And that all is causing fiscal deficit, CAD, current account
This is a choice. This is a choice that is being made. Mr. Bajaj, this is a choice that is being made. Burden the middle class.
There is a choice.
Burden the Aam Aadmi.
By the oil company,
burden the Aam Aadmi and spare the corporate.
The Aam Aadmi is suffering.
Burden the Aam Aadmi, spoil the corporate. Mr. Burden the Aam Aadmi.
I can't hear you.
The choice that is being made, Meghnad Desai is already shaking his head on that.
The choice is not, choice burdens the Aam Aadmi and the corporate. Private sector corporate and the Aam Aadmi.
Sir,
but
no.
The question is, otherwise you will have crazy fiscal deficit. And you see, this is an item which you are importing, which is in short supply.
No, sir. Sir, the petrol is landing.
Encourage the consumption.
Sir, petrol is landing at 45 rupees, 46 rupees. I am paying 78 rupees, 80 rupees, 81 rupees. So, it's not about the prices which is important.
On this program in half an hour or 22 minutes, we can't go through the details of all the calculations.
Sir, yes, I just want an answer for the people today because there's talk of a rollback.
Central and state governments also can't be helped much, I think, because they're all bankrupt, state governments and the central government.
Sir,
bankrupt is a strong word, but crazy fiscal deficit.
Sir,
yes, if you think the oil companies are not making a loss, they are making exorbitant profits. Catch hold of them.
So it's not about what the oil companies are making or not making. I like to bring in Meghnad Desai. It's not about whether the oil companies are making or not making. But when somebody goes to the petrol pump, Meghnad Desai, and when somebody has to shell out 80, 81 rupees for a litre of petrol, then that somebody is going to say, is this the same government which decides to forego revenue on account of tax exemption? It takes it up to 1,40,000 crore. And the corporate sector amounts to 64% of the revenue foregone in the last fiscal year. So how come you have one logic for corporates and one logic for the person buying, say, a Bajaj scooter?
Listen, it's very simple. The fact that there are other imperfections in the tax and subsidy mechanism does not mean that another bad subsidy is justified. It's a poor country. 70% live under less than $1, maybe $1.50 a day, less than probably 100 rupees per day. for them, for 75–80% of the people, petrol price has absolutely no relevance. This petrol, what you call Aam Aadmi, is the top 5% of the population who drive cars, who drive scooters, and things like that. So, you know, they may think they're ordinary, they may think they're Aam Aadmi, but they are in the top maybe 10% of the whole population. So why should I worry about protecting the rich? These are the rich. They may not think they are
Sir,
rich.
the rich
people.
Sir, the figure is that tax exemptions. Sir, tax exemptions for the rich have gone up to 4.6 lakh crores in our country. Revenue foregone on account of tax exemption in respect of corporate taxpayers has gone to 74%.
Arnab, you know that I am against all subsidies.
But I'm saying
I would remove every imperfection. But I will not justify one bad subsidy because there are lots of other bad subsidies.
Sir,
India has not more or less to choose to behave responsibly in economic terms. If this petrol tax hike is reversed, the rupee will collapse to
Sir, I'm
60
on a fundamental point.
telling you that now.
To blame everything and say this whole logic that we are doing all this to help the poor and farmers is also not true, because you know in the last financial year,
increase diesel price, cancel fertilizer, cancel water subsidies, cancel power subsidies. Come on, let's get on with it. Let's remove all the bad subsidies.
I get Swaminathan Iyer in. Swaminathan Iyer.
Why should I justify any bad subsidy?
No, yes. But the tax exemption, my point is the exemptions going for the rich have been going up every year, Swami. Exemptions for the rich have been going up every year. Subsidy for the poor is not increased in the same proportion if you compare it to the subsidies that the rich have been provided with. Swami.
Arnab, can I come in on this?
Yeah, please, Swami.
The notion of this enormous, huge subsidies for the rich is the most complete crap. It is repeated again and again, I regret to say, in a budget document.
Absolutely.
The budget document assumes that if there is an increase or a decrease in corporate tax, in the corporate tax rate, it automatically means you get that much more or that much less revenue. And as we know, that's completely wrong. Indira Gandhi raised income tax to 97%. Did she get all kinds of money? She did not get the money. From 97%, it has been cut to 30%. According to this calculation, oh my God, you have given all that concession. Sorry, sir, at this 30%, you are getting 100 times more income tax than Indira Gandhi got. Let us be clear that when the liberalization process started, corporate tax collections were only 1% of GDP, although the rate was 57%. Today, the rate is down from 57 to 30, and you may say it's a great concession, but the amount of tax collected has gone up from 1% to 4.5% of GDP. The truth is that if the so-called concession, if there is a change in the cost structure, a lot of that gets passed on in the form of higher growth and in the form of lower prices, and out of that larger economy that you get, the government revenue is 5 times larger than you had at that higher rate. So please let's not pretend that every single time a tax rate goes down, it is a huge concession.
No, first of all, Swami, direct tax incentives and exemptions to businesses in the corporate sector, I talked about in the form of profit and investment linked deductions. Besides all the other freebies, they amount to 100,000 crores, according to our finance ministry, what they told Parliament. This is very, very recent. But that's not my point tonight, Swami. That's my point is, it's a question of political will, right, Swami? Very often you and Meghnad Desai and Rahul Bajaj and all consistently making the point about political will. My question to Mr. Mungekar is, and I'd like Swami to come back on that, when you want to go in for diamond and gold, for example, I've been laboring this point since yesterday. You want to put customs duty on diamond and gold? You don't have the political will. 20 days the diamond and gold lobby does a small dharna in Delhi and it's rolled back. That's 50,000 crores lost. Why is there no political will to take the diamond and gold lobby on, Mr. Mungekar? But there is the political will to take on the man who's filling his motorcycle or scooter with petrol. Please explain that.
See, Arnav, we are discussing during last 8 years of UPA rule. We are discussing as if only last day by yesterday ₹7.50 hike in petrol prices, and during last 8 years as if nothing has happened. Let us appreciate the process of economic growth and let us discuss strictly in terms of economics. For example, during last 8 years, during the UPA rule, for the first time, right-based approach to development has been declared, and right to development, right to employment, right to education, right to information, which is used primarily against the government, right, tribal land rights bill. Now all these things and
Mr. Mungekar, why are you avoiding my question? Why are you avoiding my question?
Let us not.
I'll tell you the figure.
No, I am not.
You're avoiding. I'll tell you why you're avoiding the question. I want to go on the issue of gold. 1 minute, Mr. Mungekar. Year 2011. I apply the same. Mr. Mungekar, please allow me. Let me explain the question a second time to you. Let's compare petrol with gold. In the year 2011, gold imports.
Before you raise the question.
Why don't you want to answer the question?
Let me tell you.
Why are you avoiding the question?
I answered the question when I discussed in the budget.
So I am asking you tonight on the news. I have a question for you. Please take my question. Please take my question, sir. This question everybody in the country is asking.
Let me tell you. Before you raise the question, 10 days ago when I participated in the debate on the budget and finance bill, I myself has raised the question that this kind of revenue forgone because of diamond and golden exemptions, government should immediately rectify.
I am not asking you about your position.
Let us not consider only on that.
I am asking you something tonight, and please take my question. Right, Mohan Das Pai, I welcome into the debate. My question is very simple. 2011 is the year. I am comparing gold and petrol, right? Gold imports increased 50% to nearly 1,000 tons. Only 2 tons of gold are produced all over India, right? You know that. Our great country imports 967 tons of gold in 2011. If the government of India wants to earn money, because it has no money left, as we are being told repeatedly, simple logical thing is put customs duty on diamond and gold imports and protect your own country. But you won't do that. Your government won't do that, Mr. Mungekar. That's the problem. Mohan Das Pai, where's the logic here? You will indirectly subsidize gold and diamond.
No, that is the point. Precisely, I myself has raised while participating and leading the debate on behalf of the Congress
Sir,
party.
I am not asking you about what you said. I am asking you about what your government has done. Your government has let off the gold merchants and taxed the middle class. I get Mohan Das Pai into the debate. Nirmala Sitharaman, welcome in. Mohan Das Pai, what do you think? Is the economic logic working for you?
No, I'm sure. No, I'm sure. No, in view of the prevailing situation,
Mr. Pai.
In view of the prevailing situation,
this whole situation,
definitely will go
this whole situation,
the policies.
Here,
according to me, government will.
Mr. Mungekar, here Mohan Das Pai. Bring Mohan Das Pai. Yes, Mohan Das Pai.
I agree with you on the gold issue because they let off all the people on which they're supposed to levy tax. But the fundamental issue is the mismanagement on the foreign exchange front. Because of the budget proposals about retrospective amendment of tax, which have led to a lack of confidence in India by foreign investors, and about GAR, which has led to flight of capital, the rupee has gone down from 51 to 56. And that is 10% down. And that is exactly the price hike that has happened for petroleum of 7 rupee 50 paisa.
Precisely.
If 7 rupee 50 paisa on 70 rupees is precisely, they mismanaged the whole thing because they didn't understand how the economy works. And because of that, now the rupee is down. There is no action from the government to stem the decline. Subsidies are going out of control because we import the great majority of oil and you have to pay with the degraded rupee. That means the subsidies are high, the oil companies are making losses, and the middle class has to bear the brunt for lack of adequate management of the economy. At the same time, the government is putting 6,000 crores into Air India down a big hole.
Exactly.
With no hope getting any money.